My name is Willy Will Yanez. I'm from Chicago. Before that, South America. Instruments, anything with strings. Guitar, bass, mandolin, banjo, cuatro, tres, jarana, cuela. And then I've been playing for, a really long time. Since I was like late elementary, I guess. When I was like in band, like in 4th or 5th grade, my parents like forgot to pay the band fee. So like they like called me one day, like the second day of band, and I was playing trumpet. And they're like, hey, could you see us? And they're like, yeah, you can't be in band anymore. Like, they didn't pay the fee or whatever. And it just kind of, then I was like, all right, forget this. I don't want to do this anymore. And then, like, at that time, my grandmother brought me, like, she was in Venezuela, and she brought me back, like, a nylon guitar. And then I remember taking, like, a little bit of lessons and stuff. And that's kind of where it started, I guess. Yeah. I think I was, like, 14 or 15. I started taking lessons from, like, a jazz guitar guy at a community college. Okay. And then by, like, 16, I was taking this guy, John Mulder, shout out John Mulder. He was like a teacher like at Northwestern and stuff, and played a lot of clubs and stuff around Chicago, and he kind of really taught me a lot too. So just always doing that, and that's really where I learned how to like read music, was just getting into jazz at like 14.
So you graduate from high school.
Yeah.
And you head to where to continue your studies?
Yeah, so I was supposed to go to like North Texas. I always had wanted to go there, and then did this program called Merit School of Music in Chicago. That a lot of people, there's a lot of people that went on to do a lot of the rapper production and stuff. We all kind of did that, and it was really cool. But playing a lot of that kind of made me a little burnt out sometimes. We were playing all the time in the city, and from there I ended up going to University of Illinois in Champaign for like academics, like econ, international business stuff. And I hated that. So then I think I had known some people like on faculty that I could kind of talk to, and then did music, and then somehow I got it, like, I was doing music ed, and I graduated with a music ed degree. Okay. And I had, like, student teaching. A lot of people don't know that I had a student teacher and everything in Chicago at Lane Tech College Prep in the city, and another school, Lloyd Elementary. Okay. And then, but I've never taught. So, yeah.
But, so you got your music ed degree at Chicago?
Yeah, in Champaign, 2 hours south of Chicago. Yeah, and I was really involved in the jazz program for, like, the first half of it and stuff. So it was cool. It was really like, it was great for someone like me, because if I would have gone to like Berkeley, which is a great school, I think it would have allowed me to be like, do more of what my strengths were and continue to nurture that. Whereas my school was very like square, but like in a cool way. Like it made me like sight read all the time, and I was always doing music theory and playing like these like composers' works that were like crazy, but like that all prepared me for doing like a lot of the Broadway tour work and doing sessions for composers, where it was just like outside of my comfort zone.
So after college, like, did you stay in Chicago?
Yeah, or so I kind of didn't know what I was going to do when I graduated. Yeah. And I remember there was, like, a weird kind of time. I was even applying to, like, teach at CPS, and then I think, like, American Idiot or Mamma Mia, one of those musicals, was having auditions in New York. So I was invited to audition for, like, one of the tours. And I was kind of like, I don't have any money to go, like, do this in Chicago. My mom was like, okay, maybe I could help out a little bit. We're trying to figure it out. And then I just randomly got an email saying, like, do you want to tour with Memphis, the musical? And it was just like they offered it to me, so I was like, well, I'm gonna do that. Yeah.
So what brought you to LA?
Well, I didn't even know I was gonna move here, and I think my buddy Andrew Sinowick is an incredible guitar player here in town. I think I talked to him like through a friend. I knew him, and he just said like, just move wherever you want, like wake up the next morning. And I was kind of thinking I was gonna go to Nashville, but as the tour was kind of closing, I was like, oh, I don't know how I'm gonna do in Nashville, like. I don't know if I want to play some of those states, and I don't know if I like country, but I know my personality is like I would have to like really get into country, because that's just how I am. Like I go full out for anything I do. You know? It's just like I don't necessarily have like an addictive personality, but I have like what I'm saying, like I'm gonna find the way to like go full out. So I was like, I don't know if I want to go full out for country. So, and I never thought I would live here. No. It's just like it happened like May 2 months before I even moved here. I picked it, and then
So how'd you end up with Playing Skills? Was that here in Los Angeles?
Yeah, shout out to Playing Skills. That's a really kind of crazy story. So my friend Abrina, who's a really talented artist and songwriter and stuff, I had been working with her, and one day we were going to do a session just to write a song, and I had been hearing about Playing Skills and stuff because they had that song Si Una Vez out, and it was doing really well, and we were in a session one day, and we were working with like a songwriter, and we ended up being like in the studio, and I remember like looking around and seeing like plaques and seeing like I think they even had like a huge like picture thing of like their faces, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, is this their studio or something? And I remember like
Yeah.
as I was writing the song with her and playing on it, they like kind of walked in, and then they kind of got to hear it. And they were like, oh, who wrote this and who kind of like played on it? And I was like, oh, you know, I did and stuff. You know, we all did. And then from there we exchanged info, and I kind of just started working there and sending ideas over and working in the studio.
Yeah.
Either, you know, making, you know, stuff or songs they would have out. I was able to kind of do the session work on it too.
Okay.
So it would be like, and then actually I got pretty much my first placement on a major label was with them.
With
a song called Hey Wapple, which was featured Kirsten from the
Kirsten.
Pentatonic Group.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was really cool because it was like publishing on that, and then it was just really, it was like a little guitar solo thing too, but it was just, it was cool. It was like my first one.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a really good feeling, and yeah, since then I've worked a lot with those guys, and yeah, it's been great, and then I've learned a lot too.
Right.
Like, you know, transition from like session musician into producer, and you know, they've helped nurture that and really teach me a lot, which has just been great. Like a lot of late nights.
I bet.
Yeah, just teaching me a lot, which I really, I really respect and value.
So when you're going into that studio, you didn't even know they were gonna be there. You didn't.
No,
yeah. Did your friend actually have a connection?
She knew them. Yeah, she knew them, and I think the guy E-Man, who's a songwriter that signed to them. So I think that's why we were there. But it just really happened. Like, it's weird. We all knew so many of the same people, but it just happened kind of like by chance that I met them. And
so you worked on several songs with Playing Skills.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more of like other songs you've worked on?
Yeah, I did the guitar work on a song called the Llegaste Tú, which is Ciencio and Prince Royce song that they did, and that song's humongous actually. It's like played in a lot of like on the radio.
It was released last year, right?
Yeah,
or
last
like
year.
2 years ago.
I'm sure
but
it went like platinum, and it
has like over 1 million views on YouTube.
Yeah,
or even more. Right?
Oh no, it's like 200 million or something
Yeah.
views. It's crazy, and it's just like it's a huge song for them. And my mom heard it on the radio all the time, so she gets most excited about those songs,
right?
Because she listens to it.
Let's talk about the song Xanax.
Xanax Damage, yeah. That's
so
Future Save Me EP.
Yeah.
Get your copies now.
So it was released last week, a month ago?
Yeah, like 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks ago. Yeah, around there. Yeah, and it was just number one last week, and
nice.
The hip hop
I
charts.
saw that.
Yeah, so it was really cool. There was a lot of stuff that came out that week. So I was like,
how did that happen? Like,
okay, so yeah, I was my buddy. This one kind of goes into my transition more of myself as a producer and stuff. And my buddy Nels, he is a great producer and great friend of mine, and him and I worked. We co-produced a lot of stuff together, and I love working with him because between me and him we can kind of do everything just really fast. And we've been working over 3 years now, just knowing each other. So we linked up with this producer and artist, Bobby Raps, and we had kind of come up with the idea of the song, and I think we played the original idea on this acoustic right there, the Breed Love, that I love, and from there kind of Bobby went even crazier on it and had the song, and then we had heard about that Future had cut vocals on it, and I was like, oh cool. And you get to a point where when an artist cuts vocals on something, it's really cool, but it doesn't guarantee that it's going to come out. So you learn, okay, that's awesome, you're grateful for it, but it's not like you don't get excited, oh, for sure it's going to happen. And then I kind of started hearing a little more, and then we started getting like producer agreements and hearing more momentum, and then we didn't know like what it was going to come out. Future just did a great job of kind of like slowly giving hints, so we were all there with the fans kind of like, I was like, whoa. And then he posted like he made music videos to the songs, and he did, I think Xanax Damage was the second one, he did like a video for it. I was like, whoa, like it was really cool to hear that. Nice. And that so it was really cool. And then just when it came out and stuff, it was pretty awesome.
So you mentioned earlier, like, you go into the studio and you never know whether like a song that you worked on is gonna get picked up.
Yeah.
How do you stay motivated on a daily basis?
That's a good question. So I was just talking about this with other producers. They were saying like, if you do like 300 songs in a year, like work on 300 songs or something like that, and like 5 to 10 get used, that's a good year. You know what I'm saying? But think about those odds. So I'm working every single day with different people, making different beats, working on different songs, still doing session work. So it's just kind of like always just, everybody kind of takes a different approach. For me, I really try to like work in a situation where we just can make like a great song together.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's how I really try to approach it, because whereas I know some other people, they might be like, oh, let's do a song for so and so artists. And
Mm-hmm.
honestly, a lot of times as you get to know more camps of different artists, you're kind of like, okay, well, I know exactly who's gonna work on that album. They're not really gonna take outside songs. And it's not a negative thing, but it's just like, so yeah, I just trying to be like, keep the art in it. It keeps me motivated.
Mm-hmm.
I love working in the Latin world. It's like sending different samples and ideas and stuff to people, because it's like I get to use like a lot of different Latin instruments.
Right.
That keeps me motivated because it's very like creative.
Nice. And last question, any advice for someone out there, like musicians out there?
Just getting started.
Yeah, we're just getting started. It depends. I mean, I would say like always find out what you kind of want to do, what your goal is, and know that it can change. I was given that advice when I got here, that saying like LA, like you could think you want to do something and find out you're really good at like writing for TV shows or something. I mean, that's what happened to me. I thought I was going to move here and play for like huge artists, and I ended up like writing and producing for big artists. So it became a whole different thing. But yeah, I would just always say like work really hard at certain things that you know you want to do. Also too, like with the production stuff, a lot of people always want to get into production, but if you're not really into it, that's not the only route. There's a lot of different things you can kind of get into with music. But and also too, just kind of like really trying to figure out like what your thing is. That's so important. Like it's like if I wasn't known for certain things, I don't think I would do any of this. It's just kind of how to kind of set yourself apart from whatever the norm is. And I've never been somebody that has success in following the norm. Like I don't know, even like jam sessions here. Like everybody always said, go to jam sessions every night and like sit in. But I feel like I sat in like 10% of the time, 20%. I would just like talk to people and hang out, and like get to know them that way and stuff like that. Because that just wasn't like my energy. Like I'm trying to get on that stage and show everybody what I got. Like just I don't know. I definitely got like the talent, I guess, but it's just like I don't know. I don't need to show it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then you'll see kind of where you fit the best. Like the studio stuff for me is just such a natural fit because I'm just more of a mellow guy, and meet fellow weirdos and people that are kind of more eccentric. A lot of producers are pretty eccentric. Right. So yeah, it just naturally fit me way better than like I don't know. I was never that guy on stage, just like
go on that stage.
Because you play these things and they're like, okay, can you move differently? I'm like, whoa, what do you mean move differently? This is weird. But then again, it depends on what artist you're with, because then there's artists where it's like, it's really about the music or it's just a great situation. So, but yeah, just kind of really work hard to, like, as corny as it sounds, like know yourself, because that'll really translate. Like somebody that knows themselves, it'll translate when you work with other people, and it'll translate into your career too.
Cool.